So our next item on the list is checking on gas station visits and then perhaps getting a compilation of how many miles the vehicle is driven in a given month. Looking at, back to the live map, here's a little bonus, a bonus lesson. See how I'm doing this? It's wasting a whole bunch of time. What I can do is I can go into view, and I can go into views, and I can save this view. I'll call this Winnipeg. Now this is only going to work for me. When you log in under your setting, you'll have to do this yourself too, but now I have this view of Winnipeg, so if I'm zoomed out, I can go into view, views, Winnipeg. And I'll even show you how you can set this as your default. We can see the different color zones here. And they're the two types of zones that I imported. Well, there's a few more now that we see. We're a little zoomed in. There's the brown, there's the green, there's the red. The reddy, orangey ones are co-op gas stations that I imported. Brown ones are Tim Horton locations. These green ones, I believe, are wholesalers. So if we want to see gas stations have been visited, well, all the gas stations are zones. So we, looking under the zone types, Tim Horton zones, co-op gas stations, wholesalers, and then the speeding categories that I told you about in the previous video. So what we can do is go into the customer visit report, and I go into my options, and I only want to look at the co-op gas stations. So I can actually select them all on the list because I've all subcategorized them as this one type. So great, now we have every co-op gas station we're going to be checking. We want to do it for our truck 740, and we already have our date of June 1st to July 1st selected. So let's just go to the entire month of June, at least for as long as we've been tracking. So out of this month, the only zone captured here is on the 24th at this particular time, and the driver was there for 6 minutes. And again, what time he arrived and what time he departed. And we can double click to have a look where it is. And here we can see the star is showing us that he's inside a zone that we have an interest in. So this is the case of a co-op gas station zone that I actually edited the location of this square. I found that when it was input, it was more in the center of the street, and I moved it off to the side, because if we go into our view and map types, and we go into map style, and let's just take a look at the hybrid, we can see just exactly where this gas station is. So there was no point in obviously having the square more in the middle of the road. You can see that's been done with the Tim Hortons, and what really needs to be done is it needs to be moved to the better location, because that's the only problem with the auto import is it centers it to the address, and the address is always on a street, but of course all the buildings are always off the street, so sometimes they require a little bit of tweaking. And it's very easy to do, actually. You just right click on the zone, and then you can go right here to move, and when you select that, it will allow you to drag that square over the area that you're looking at. We could also do something where we right click and we use the street view. Google Maps, Google Street View. This is no longer in the GPS system. It's just created a link into the web page. So now we can look and see that, okay, here we go. Here's where that co-op is. So we take a look back in our map here. Yeah. So all this prep work has again led to this particular report, and again I have the Penguin Zone Visit report, so that will export this into the spreadsheet. And again, if you've only selected this for the co-ops, then you're going to get a list, and we only had one visit this month, but when they arrived, what time they departed, the total amount of time spent there, and which ones were there. So this would give you a count of how many times the vehicles had stopped in the zone, and then of course total time if you're interested in that. This tells us the gas station visit, but you also asked for how we find out the mileage for the month. And the way we can do that is again going back into our trip history and we have the date selected here for the month. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to bother to hit apply. I'm going to save some time and I'm going to go right into the Penguin Trip Summary Report. And we're going to summarize all the trips that occurred for the month. So again, summarization of all the daily activities. So from June 13th, which is the first day where we have actual tracking data from, and we have the total driving time, the total stop times, and all of our grand totals. So that includes distance driven, which is 11 kilometers, 50 kilometers, 111.2. So again, so for the entire month, this vehicle drove 740, drove 610.3 kilometers. So that's a fast way to get the total kilometers for an entire month, and you can compare that to your gas station visit report as well too, and that will give you the entire picture. And there we got mileage for the month.